Well, hello everybody, ladies and gentlemen, everybody, and ladies and gentlemen. Jason up, New Age Revolution Cave. Sick. I'm sick. I've got a cold. See? And I hate it. I hate my cold. I don't have a fever, but I feel that my skin is sensitive to cold. You know what I mean? Yeah, I'm not sleeping good because you like, I wake up with a sore throat and I'm eating popsicles at like 4 in the morning this morning. And I don't have a sore throat, but you wake up that way. And I'm just like, I'm not in a good place. But I did watch Tuesday Night Titans, which is Friday Night Titans, with the acronym TNT, which is fine. I did that, and that would be what? So March 31st was a Sunday. I didn't write the date down. March 31st was a Sunday. Monday the 1st, Tuesday the 2nd, Wednesday the 3rd, Thursday the 4th, Friday the 5th. This would be Friday, April 5th, 1985. TNT, ladies and gentlemen, as we begin the road to WrestleMania 2. This is the first show after WrestleMania. So the road to WrestleMania 2 is on. Now, I debated doing TNT, but there's only a season and a half. No, yeah, there's only a season and a half left. It ends in 86, and we're at 85. So it went like 2.5 seasons. So we'll ride. I mean, the LJNs come in soon. They're on the table soon. So I'm going to keep doing the TNTs, even if they're not, you don't see new matches on TNT, but some of as you'll see today, I'm glad that I'm doing this particular show because so many things happen. So many fun things happen. This is just a fun show where you're supposed to notice stuff. You're supposed to notice fun stuff. So here we go. We've got Vince and Al. I wrote Vince and Al. So Vince and Lord Alfred Hayes welcome us to another show. And they quickly, without any hesitation, they bring in their first guests, the brand new WWF World Tag Team Champions, the Iron Sheik and Nikolai Volkoff, of course, accompanied by their manager, the Hollywood fashion plate, classy Freddie Blassie. And Sheik and Volkoff come out with those belts that I love so much. They're so plain. They're so simple. We've seen this design throughout so many other organizations, including the old NWA World title. This particular, that was gold. This one is silver, the WWF tag belts. But we've seen this design so many times. I love it. It's so simple. Such a great design. Love these belts. They come out, and, we've got some talking, and Vince McMahon says, some of the wrestling world is very surprised that, and Blassie says that nobody should be surprised. Nobody should be surprised that we have new tag team champions. And I love how the bad guys of the time, always talked about how, when the bad guys cheated, they never even acknowledged that there was cheating. I just think that that's such great old school wrestling stuff, because then they go to the highlights, so we get some match footage of we get probably 75% of the match, maybe cut up here and there. They go to a commercial and whatever, and Blassie hits Barry Windham with the cane, right? Obviously. And then they come back and Blassie's like, what a great pinfall right there in the middle of the ring, 1, 2, 3. And Vince is like, well, I think some would question. No, didn't see anything. And I just, it's such a different time. It's so hard to explain. It's so hard to put into words how I feel about that. But it's just such a, I don't know, the 80s manager like Blassie and Heenan, where they cheated, but they didn't. You didn't see it. It didn't happen. Nope, didn't happen. Well, it happened right there. We just saw it on the footage. No. Didn't happen. I just love that. I just love how 80s that is. Like 80s wrestling anyway. All right, so I did notice as they were replaying the match at WrestleMania. I noticed somebody in the crowd with a WrestleMania hat that they, I would assume, obviously bought from the Garden that night. And it was a mesh-backed hat, and it said WrestleMania on it. And I think that those hats are probably worth $1 gazillion today. I mean, think about it. Did they put those hats on sale in the WWF catalog for, months after? Mesh-backed WrestleMania hat. And it doesn't have I don't know, look at it on the screen here. And where are those hats now? I mean, how many people in the audience bought them? Let's say 1,000 people, and that's a lot. Let's say 1,000 people bought those hats. There's 1,000 of those hats in circulation today, right? How many of those are thrown out? So there's 500, there's 400, there's 100 of those hats still in existence today? Or did they just resell them in the catalog? I don't know. Makes me think. It's amazing. We come after the match, after the title match, we come back to very unexpected humor. Sheik and Volkoff are there. Who's opening my door? It's you. What are you doing?
What up, everybody?
Yeah, nobody wants to hear you. You gonna play Nintendo?
Yeah.
All right. We come back from the break. We come back from the match. Like I said, the match is over, and we have some unexpected humor. Vince McMahon is actually making reference to how Nikolai Volkoff has, and he said, "Well, now, Nikolai, you've been in the WWF off and on for the last 10 years, which is huge in of itself. That Vince McMahon acknowledges, anything like that back in 1985. They didn't acknowledge that stuff. There was no other wrestling company in the world. Nobody ever wrestled there before. Nobody came from anywhere. You just fell into the planet and became a WWF wrestler. So, well, Nikolai, you've been in and out of the WWF for 10 years, which is true. He was challenging Bruno back in the 70s. Nonetheless, you've made whatever Vinceism he says, you've made a lot of money. But I have noticed that every time we see you in a suit, you're wearing this exact particular suit." So, and I don't know what was the deal with that, because everybody is trying to hold back laughter except Alfred Hayes, who's just cackling in the background. Sheik is trying. Sheik's trying. Nikolai is laughing. Blassie is just trying to cover it up by going, no, he's got 20 of those suits, 20 of them. And so Vince is trying not to laugh. And then Nikolai says that these are the colors of his country. I can't do the Russian voice, but the red jacket and the yellow tie, or the yellow jacket and the red tie, whatever it was. These are the colors of my country. And so then Vince says, "Well, do you have one of these suits?" And then Nikolai says he has 5. Nikolai says he has 5 of the same suit. Blassie says he has 20. And then Iron Sheik loses it. And he says, Sheik says, "We're not here, Mr. McMahon, we're not here to talk about suits. We're not here to talk about," and he says, "We're not here to talk about suits. We're not here to talk about Persian rugs, pistachios, camels, or politics." That's what he said. And he added pistachios in there. And I don't know why. I don't think I misheard him.
Weird.
It's not weird. It's wonderful. I don't know if I misheard the Sheik, but he said pistachios. He said, "We're not here to talk about oil, politics, pistachios, camels, or suits." And I just loved it. So Sheik goes on a little bit about, the title and the championship and how insulted he is that they're talking about suits. So he just goes back to being a bad guy and brings everybody back to Bad Guy Planet, which was so great. And I just imagine that they're just laughing their heads off afterwards. Because you've seen there's an interview, there's like botched interviews, blooper interviews on YouTube where Mean Gene is just interviewing people, and it's a botch from the beginning. So then he just starts swearing or making it funny. And Nikolai sings, and Mean Gene calls him, quote, "the shits." And Nikolai bursts out laughing with this gigantic smile on his face and has this high-pitched laughter that makes him look like he's 12 years old. So I think Nikolai probably has childlike sense of humor. So they must have been cracking up after this scene. All right. Anyway, we've got Ricky Steamboat is up next. Vince is talking about his meteoric rise in the WWF, which is not true. We've only seen Ricky Steamboat in a couple of TV matches against enhancement talent, and even at WrestleMania we saw him against enhancement. So there has been no meteoric rise yet in the WWF. Steamboat, Steamboat talks about how dedicated he is to wrestling and how he reviews footage of all of his opponents and, how he takes this very seriously. And then we have a match, Steve Lombardi versus Ricky Steamboat. I've reviewed that previously. They come back, and Ricky Steamboat was talking about how the WWF has the most talent in the world of wrestling, and he's glad to be here. And Vince says that you also are very educated in karate. Is that right, Mr. Steamboat? And then Steamboat says, "Yeah, but I like to use that as a last resort. It's very dangerous, it's very deadly, and I only like to use karate as a last resort because he says, look, there's a lot of people trying to climb to the top of the WWF, and people are going to take shortcuts against him. And so if he has to, he will use the karate.
I'm so scared.
If he has to." And Liam is terrified. Love it. Love it. Love it. Then we have footage of Ricky Steamboat's Mid-Atlantic Gym, which was a legit place in North Carolina, I think. North or South Carolina, I think. And I believe that was probably a very popular gym for the Mid-Atlantic NWA wrestlers when Steamboat was in that area. So he's been in the WWF for about a month now, and they're showing off his gym, and they've got still photos of Ricky Steamboat working out and whatever. So that's pretty cool. The Mid-Atlantic Gym. Then we have an update on Hillbilly Jim. Now, Hillbilly Jim's been out. He's been injured. He I think he legit injured his leg, and then they made it look like Brutus Beefcake injured his leg. I don't know if he actually got injured in the match with Beefcake, if he broke his knee or something. I don't know. But of course they Beefcake did it to him. So Hillbilly Jim's on the farm. He's on the ranch or wherever he is, and he's playing guitar, and he's reading fan letters, which is pretty cool. One letter asks how Granny's doing. And he says that Granny is sick and that she's not, she's away. So I don't know what was happening with Granny, if Granny was just done with the character at the time, or if something lethal happened to Granny and she just wasn't around anymore.
Granny?
Well, Granny is Hillbilly Jim's Granny. Then he reads another letter that says, Hillbilly Jim, since you have a broken leg, how will you be able to do the bear hug? And I don't know if these letters are for real, right? But I really hope that they are, because again, it takes us back to a much simpler time when little 8-year-old me is sitting down, writing a letter to Hillbilly Jim and saying, "Hey, Mr. Hillbilly, how are you able to do a bear hug if your leg's broke?" And I think that is the most wonderful, innocent thing. And I really hope these letters are real. And I really hope some little kid wrote Hillbilly Jim that letter. And he does his best to explain that even though he has a broken leg, he's come out and he's hugged trees and he has squeezed tires and he's still working on the bear hug. Would you write a letter like that?
Nope.
From there, Hillbilly Jim, introduces us to his dogs. We get to see his dogs.
Yeah!
And then that's it. He says he will be back. In fact, he talks very seriously about getting revenge on Beefcake. And he knows that he doesn't usually talk like this. And you've never really heard the good hillbilly talk like this, but I'm serious. And Bruce Beefcake, you're gonna get what's coming to you. Good stuff. Then we have we have Lisa Sliwa as a guest. Now, Elisa Sliwa is something called a guardian angel. And her husband was on TNT at one point as well. And I can't remember his first name, but he was a guardian angel. So for some reason,
Who's a guardian angel?
well, for some reason, WWF has some connection with the guardian angel. So they bring in Lisa Sliwa, who's apparently a fashion model and a guardian angel. And so she explains what the guardian angels are. And from what I got from it, they are basically a volunteer group who dress up in very strange little outfits and wear little red berets, and they try to keep law and order on the streets of New York City by providing citizens arrests to people with force. So there's takedowns, there's holds, according to Lisa Sliwa. We're going to hold them there until the police come. Now, I'm thinking that if this thing existed in 2024, there would be a whole lot of dead guardian angels all over the streets of New York. Okay.
Wow.
So I don't know what the guardian angels were. But Lisa Sliwa is also training to become a professional wrestler. And I don't know if she makes a debut at any time. It's short-lived. I don't remember her a part of the WWF at all. So she's training to be a wrestler. So of course they take the segment to part of the stage where there's a mat on the floor, and Vince says, "Well, let's demonstrate a few wrestling holds, and why don't we do it on? Well, how about you, Alfred?" So now Lord Alfred Hayes has to take Lisa Sliwa's wrestling moves. So at first they do just a collar and elbow tie up. They do a lock up, and Alfred goes, "That's a referee's hold," and so they do that. And then they go from that into a hammerlock, and Lord Alfred is selling the hammerlock. And then I think, what did she do? She did she did a wrist lock, and then she did if this is the hammerlock, she put his arm up. What are you going to say? You beat it again?
I just beat this in 9
minutes and 33 seconds. So Liam did a Super Mario
speed. Did not die once.
Congratulations.
I did not die once.
Liam did a Super Mario speed run in 9 minutes and 33 seconds. Very good. I think that's 5 minutes longer than the actual speed run, but whatever.
That's fine.
Okay, so Lisa Sliwa demonstrates. Oh, then she gets Alfred in the full Nelson, and he's okay, I give. Well, then Vinny has to get involved. Yes, Vinny has to get involved. He says, "Well, all right, Lisa, that's great for the face to face, but what if somebody comes up to you from behind?" And now, whenever I watch Vince, I just on my brain. So Vince McMahon grabs Lisa Sliwa from behind, and she gives him a hip toss. She gives him a judo throw. She throws him, and Vince takes the mat. Takes the bump, and said, "Well, okay, all right," and gets back up, and he's adjusting his suit. "All right, Lisa Sliwa," and then we go to commercial. But Vince. We come back, and it's the end of the show. We're closing with something called the winner of the Great Trivia Contest. So apparently for the last month or so, they've been asking trivia questions on WWF programming. You send the answers in, and they're going to do the drawing right now. So we've got a couple of representatives from USA Network, and then they draw the winner. So everybody who sent in the correct answers were put into a tumbler thing, and they draw it, and Lord Alfred is supposed to get it out and read it, but he's not the best, and Vince McMahon is mocking him the whole time, and he's trying to read, and he has to get his glasses on. And so the winner is apparently a fella named DJ Witten of Illinois. DJ Witten is our big winner, and he wins a trip for 4 to New York, 4 tickets to a WWF show at the Garden, and $500 plus a guest spot on an upcoming TMT. I guess we'll have to see if that really happens. But DJ Witten is our winner of the 1985 Great Trivia Contest. And then TNT ends. And the funny thing with TNT, as it ends, Vince starts dancing a little. He starts dancing to the music, and then Lisa Sliwa is like, she's dancing a little. Then she starts to dance with Lord Alfred, and it's just gold. So that's all. That is Wrestling with the Past. TNT, April something, 1985. We have the Saturday shows to do, and then we just probably some more house shows coming up. So we'll just roll through 1985. We're into April. That means next month, May, we've got the start of Saturday night's main event and Randy Savage's debut. Stay tuned. Good night now.